call the meeting to order. Seth and I have made the decision that I will be taking over as chairperson of the Select Board. So it's nice to see you all. And we are looking forward to a good meeting this evening. So why don't we stand for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay. Sarah, do you see everyone that's in the room?
So right now I have the Rutland County Sheriff, Abigail Friedman, Justin Lindholm, Patty Lancaster, Jennifer and Fred Bagley.
That is it.
You got it.
And Carol Gates is participating online.
Yes. Okay. So we do have a few additions and deletions from the Select Board agenda. Meeting dates moving forward, we have a couple changes, and then we also are going to be hearing from Jennifer and Fred Bagley about the carving studio bench, and we're going to have a little presentation on that when we move farther down into town business. We'll move you to the top of town business. Okay. Signing of orders.
Oh, Megan, can I just interrupt for a second? Yeah. If you could make a motion to add the 2 items to the agenda,
okay,
that would, and then approve the rest of the agenda, that is how we would move forward. So okay. The meeting, a discussion about the meeting schedule and the bench. Okay,
so I would like to move that we add the discussion of the meeting dates and the carving studio bench to the agenda for this evening's meeting.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
And is that, then I do another motion to approve the rest of the agenda?
No, that's kind of like the approval of the agenda, that you're just adding those to the agenda. If there was any deletions, you would do that at that time as well.
Okay. So the first item is the signing of the orders of payroll for 10/15/24 in the amount of $12,955.69. Now, do I make a motion that we?
You can make a motion that you approve the payroll. Mm-hmm.
Okay, I'm going to make a motion that we approve the payroll.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. And the minutes for meeting 9/23/24, I've reviewed those minutes and I'd like to move that we approve those.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, and the meeting date that we're going to we're moving so I'd like to move that we change the date to the October 30th meeting to November 6th, which will be the day after the election, and that will be the next Select Board meeting. That is the only change for the next month. So I'd like to move that we do that.
Seth, are you available on Wednesday the 6th?
Yeah. I'll make myself available.
Yeah, we can't have a meeting without you, so.
I know, right?
Yeah, so, and then the other change in the schedule from the regular meetings in November was scheduled for the 11th and the 25th, and we were moving the 11th meeting to the 12th. That we had rescheduled earlier in the year because we knew about that conflict because of the holiday, but now we're meeting on the 6th. There's only one work day after that meeting, before meeting on the 12th. So, I'm kind of recommending that we don't meet on the 12th.
No, we won't
meeting, and then we could meet. The second meeting in November would be on the 25th, which is regularly scheduled.
Okay, that's
So
what that was what I was under the impression we were doing.
Right, and I just got confused because of that calendar today that we reviewed with the Rutland County Sheriff, that they were still on the calendar for the 12th. But as long as the select board agrees, we can just, the November meetings would be scheduled for the 6th at 5:30 at the town office, and the 25th, which is the regularly scheduled meeting,
Okay,
and no meeting on October 30th.
okay. Do I need to make a motion for that?
Sure.
Okay, I'd like to move that the November meetings be scheduled on November 6th at 5:30 in the town office and November 25th at 5:30 in the town office.
I'm gonna second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, moving on in the agenda, announcements. Clearly we have a select board vacancy, and we are accepting letters of interest for people that are interested in being appointed. I will be traveling until the beginning of November, so we will be talking to the applicants for that position early in the month of November, and hopefully have that person appointed by the meeting on November 25th. And we have received a few inquiries already, so we're looking forward to filling that position to help us move forward for our budgeting process, clearly. The other announcement is that Sarah, I moved the other announcement with the meeting dates. Was anything else moved into announcements? I think, no, because for business, the carving studio has moved into business, excuse me. Okay, so now we have public comment. I would like to remind everyone that this is limited to 2 minutes, and in order to make sure that things are fair to everyone in our community, I'm going to use the timer. Use a timer when people begin to speak, and ask you to end at the 2 minutes so that we can keep the meeting moving forward. So does anybody have any comment? Public comment? Carol Gates. Carol is raising her hand. So Carol, you're unmuted? Okay, you go ahead.
So hello, everyone. I would just like to make sure that everyone knows in town that I have submitted a letter to the town requesting to be appointed to that position on the select board. I intend to run regardless whether I'm not appointed in March. And I just want the town to recognize that I did run for that seat that Val left, and I did garnish votes. And so I would like to know whether or not any of the other applicants for the position have run, garnish votes, or anything else. So I just want everybody to know that I did run for that position, and for her to leave like that was very disheartening to me. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Carol.
Anyone else? Okay. All right. So we will move on to the carving studio bench. I'm excited to see what you have. So Jennifer, you want to go ahead with that?
Well, I didn't do my homework to remember when we presented the idea to the select board last year, and they agreed to go ahead. The Mendon Historical Society paid a certain amount for the carving studio, and then the carving studio had four teenagers work on it this summer. This will be the 15th bench that has been done in the carving studio project. They're very pleased that we are going to be doing that. And there was some discussion about where it should be, and the Historical Society thought it should be up here because this is the historical part of town and kind of near the kiosk where the barn used to be. And so that happened this summer, and the 4 students came up with, and what I didn't realize at the time, they come up with their own design. They work with a professional sculptor. So the bench is finished, and there also was discussion, there's a plaque that goes with each bench. And we had a little discussion in the Historical Society back and forth, because originally it was just going to say the 2024 Stone Bench Project under the supervision of master sculptor Nora Valdez. This bench was designed and created by local youth, Maya Murphy, Milo Giovanni Marcotte, Jay Rivers, and Liam Wolf, donated to the town of Mendon by the Carving Studio and Sculpture Center. And we said, could you please add donated to the town of Mendon by the Mendon Historical Society and the Carving Studio and the Sculpture Center, which they did. And apparently, the money that we donated from the Historical Society is part of what it paid for everyone, but also there's various people that donate to the Carving Studio, so that's why they're part of the sponsors. And they learn the art of carving in the studio. So I will give this to you because that's what the plaque is going to say. And
Where will that be going?
and that will be located right near the bench itself. And then there have been, in the area by the kiosk all winter, there had been 2 sets of wooden stakes with possible ideas of where to put it. And 2 of the set of stakes were on the west side, and then another set was kind of to the left, sort of next to the kiosk, way off to one side. And those of us that were looking at it decided, and with realizing the left side, and those 2 stakes have been there all the time. The other ones were taken down. And a couple of days ago, Fred and I went and did a little experimental digging to see what the ground was like, whether it was diggable, and it turns out it was. Carol Driscoll had given us the dimensions of the bench and then suggested that the siding for the bench be wider and deeper so that we could line it with gravel, and then it would not be interfere with mowing that had to go on. So out over there, there's a area about 60 by 20 that has been already dug up that we think would look nice, and there's room to put the plaque. Probably, Fred could explain what his idea was for it, and we need to get some gravel. Once we dig it out, we need to get some gravel, and we had the idea of edging it with patio bricks so that when weed eating is happening, that they don't have to worry about spewing grass onto the thing. So we think that will work well, and it's a bench where people can go and sit and contemplate, and maybe more people will go read the kiosk too. And it's far away from the little driveway and from the forest. You can, if you walk over there, you can see it. So I have a picture of, this is what it looks like when it's on the pallet. And I've been talking with our head of our road crew, Chris, and they think that next week sometime would be a good time. The weather's better. They're in the process of training their new crew members for how to use chainsaw correctly. And they have the equipment that he thinks that they can lift these pieces safely off. Here's the picture.
So the pallet would be delivered by the carving studio?
No, we need to have our town truck go to the carving studio, and they will take their forklift and put it on the back of the truck, and they will give us their canvas straps that they use to lift it. And talking to Chris, he thinks that they have a piece of equipment at the town garage that they can bring over here and safely bring it back. And then Fred and I, we have all the measurements about where we put it all. Here's a picture of what it looks like. And I by mistake printed up little pictures so I can have some.
It's a little bit, the pillow.
I know.
Sarah, can you see?
Yeah, Jennifer had sent me, she emailed me a picture,
Oh, okay.
just this
That's
afternoon.
great.
That's pretty.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice looking.
So I think that, and talking to Chris, I don't know if he has come up here to look at the site, but if you walk out there and there's a little driveway that stops short of the grassy area where the kiosk is, and then way to the left where it's still flat, level ground, that's where the bench would be. So I don't know if when they plow snow and when they go straight. nor do I think anybody goes to sit on benches and look at kiosks in the middle of the winter anyway. But we thought, the Historical Society thought that that would be a nice added touch because of an invitation that people could read the kiosk, have a place to sit, and, you know, it has a pillow on it, as you can see.
Yes,
It's a
yeah.
stone pillow.
Let's have a note.
And so apparently and the carving studio was so pleased that we're number 15. And so we think tentatively we'll talk to Chris when they're ready, and then we'll do that next week. And then usually they have, depending on the town, they'll have some commemorative celebratory thing. And I tried to explain to Carol that we have kind of a little space here with not a lot of room. And they traditionally like to have the student artists come and be recognized.
Mhm.
Right now, only one of them is here. One of them, I don't know which one it is. One of them is from Chittenden and was a Barstow graduate. The other ones are all over. And the professional sculptor that worked with them is in Boston. And Carol Driscoll herself is now dealing with COVID. So we're kind of waiting to see when another time would be to have a very modest, nice, small little ceremony. And I think it will be a nice addition to the town.
Nice. Yeah.
Absolutely, it looks great.
Yeah, I think I'm glad that we're going to have it here by the
Yeah,
kiosk.
well, there was some discussion about maybe having it at the rec center, and we drove down to look, and the rec center, you know, has done all sorts of work down there, but we really didn't see there was a particular place to have a contemplative bench. It seems
Yeah.
like it was more appropriate here.
Yeah.
So that's what we're hoping.
Great.
Exciting.
Well, thank you.
Yeah.
You want to add anything?
So I would like to make a motion that we graciously accept the bench from the Carving Studio and the Historical Society to be placed here at the town office.
Yeah, I second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, the next item is, we had gotten a note, memo from our zoning administrator, Steve Ellerin, and he was asking if we could, so I guess I would like to Sarah, do I make a motion here? Or do I explain it first?
What you're reporting is that he submitted a letter stating that he had a conflict of interest.
Right.
And that he's requesting the appointment of interim or a replacement for him.
Yeah, so he had a conflict of interest regarding property owned by Todd Beardsley, and Richard House submitted a zoning violation to the town regarding property owned by Todd Beardsley. Steve has a relationship with both men and has asked that we appoint Fred Begley as proxy zoning administrator for this particular violation. And Fred is here in the meeting shaking his head. So I'd like to make a motion that we move forward with that and ask Fred to take care of this issue for Steve.
As long as you correct yourself that I was nodding my head.
Oh, excuse me, nodding his head. Did you get that in the minutes, Sarah? Fred was nodding, not shaking. So I present the motion.
I second it.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay. The budget timeline. Sarah has submitted the budget timeline draft, and we are going to be diving into the budget soon, probably tomorrow. Sarah, is there a motion that I need to make?
Nope, this is all just an outline for the timeline of the budget process. Some of the dates are tweaked as of the motion that you made, changing the meeting schedule for November. So I'll just make those changes to the timeline and distribute to the department heads from the select board that you're soliciting their input on November 6th and at the latest November 25th.
Okay.
Again, most of the agenda is completed in November and the beginning of December with all numbers fairly finalized before, or they would be finalized on the December 16th meeting. And then as we go into January, we just make very minor changes for any numbers that come in from other organizations that have not submitted yet. This would be like the Rutland County Sheriff tax or the Rutland County tax. That's usually the only change that we do in January.
Okay. So there's no motion for either of those agenda items.
Nope.
We also received the scoping study that has been completed by the members of the steering committee. And so what I would like to recommend is that the steering committee for the scoping study would like to pursue recommendations from that study. And so we would just like for you to report those findings to the Mendon on the Move Route 4 committee, which, once you've moved forward and decided, what you might want to pursue, and then work with the town for grants or other things that you will need.
So I think the status of the Route 4 committee is uncertain at this point. It was more a collective than it was a committee per se. What the steering committee is hoping to do is to be able to take the conclusions and recommendations of this scoping study and now start to explore individual aspects of it that are long-term, short-term, extensive, not extensive, et cetera. And I hate to call it a subcommittee, a steering committee, but some members of the steering committee are willing to continue but report to the select board, just like the scoping committee reported to the select board, and the implementation committee, study committee, whatever we call it, and pull out individual aspects of the scoping study and have the authority or the permission of the select board to start going to entities like AOT, VTrans, state police, and other people who control our road. And without discussing money or talking contracts, negotiating any of that sort of stuff is traditionally select board stuff, but do exploratory stuff to say, here's a project that we think the select board could pursue now. Here's a project that we think is a medium-term solution. Here's a multi-year solution, which is going to take $4 million. That obviously has to be done with a lot of long-term planning, et cetera. So what the steering committee is hoping is that the select board would appoint a smaller group to start meeting on a regular basis and start digging into the nitty-gritty, the concrete aspects, not the long-term, not just the long-term vision for the town, but short-term things that have a tangible reward and effect right now. So we're hoping there are 3 people willing to serve on this, however we label it, study, implementation, or whatever. And that's myself, Patty Lancaster, and Dennis O'Connell, who's the owner of Good Paul's Coffee, and has obviously a vested interest in it before. And along with guidance, the Rutland Regional Planning Traffic person start wading into the details of the acceptance of the study that the board accepted.
So Sarah, could you hear Fred?
Yes.
Yeah, so Sarah and I discussed that it would be a continuation of the Mendon on the Move under that umbrella. Was that, Sarah, we discussed it today. Go ahead.
Yeah, I would just wanted to provide some background. So when Fred is discussing the steering committee, on the steering committee for the Route 4 scoping study was Fred Bagley, Patty Lancaster, myself, Seth Bridge, and Larry Crisell. That consisted of the steering committee. They worked with VTrans and the Regional Planning Commission to work through the process, which did take a year. And the findings have been accepted by the town. And so that grant is completed and that study is completed. So the steering committee essentially has fulfilled their obligation under the grant and the scoping study. But now we have a result of that scoping study of preferred alternatives, which Fred would like to start looking into implementation of. And so that can be done at a select board level, or it can be done under Mendon on the Move. Because Mendon on the Move, which was a citizens initiative with the VCRD, they set two priorities, one being boosting outdoor recreation and the second doing a reinvention of Route 4. As you know, Megan, because I think you chaired that committee, it hasn't met routinely in the past, 6 months to a year, but that is something that we can resurrect, and work with the members of the steering committee that also want to move these preferred alternatives forward. If
So
just to remind people of committees, if the select board appoints a committee formally, it would be an advisory committee of the town, and would be subject to all of the rules and regulations with the open meeting law and carrying out those obligations, the direction of the select board. The Mendon on the Move is a citizens initiative. So they would research what preferred alternatives they would want to pursue and look at different grant opportunities. And then they would come back to the select board to present their requests.
So if it's a select board appointed committee, you'd have to go to open meeting laws and all that, versus if we keep it as a Mendon on the Move initiative reporting to the select board, then you can just meet as you have been wanting to.
So we could pick our own members then at that point? We don't need to have your, we don't have to have you say, have this person or that person. We just get our group together and.
Yeah, that's the way we did the Mendon on the Move committees. So I think that's probably an easier solution, less red tape and.
Okay, and just an addendum to what, that's fine. And what Sarah said, Larry Purcell has to step back. He's got lots of other stuff. And Sarah, I apologize. I know you have a big plate, which is well filled. So I didn't want to bother you with another meeting,
Yeah.
but as long as the select board is advised that the three of us plus, and Sarah, apparently the traffic engineer person from Rutland Regional Planning, this would be at no charge to the town. It's just part of their services, I guess. So it's not part of the grant that we paid them to help administer. So we would just, the three of us from the town and the regional planning traffic guy would get together and say, okay, what can we pull out which is useful, doable, visual, long-term vision, short-term results.
Yeah, and this is something Seth has a lot of interest in, and so I think, and then I'm the Mendon on the Move chair, so I guess,
So if you want to sit in on another group.
So I think
I'm
we should
interested
just
in
keep
that.
it,
All right, we could explore that outside of this meeting.
but I think
Right.
keeping it the way you're doing it now is perfect.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you.
Okay, so where's my agenda go? Here we go. So I think that's covers everything on this evening's agenda. So I'm going to make a motion that we adjourn the meeting at 5:59 p.m.
I second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.